Tommy Will, a multifaceted and boundless musician with work featured in shows like Power, The Chi, League of Legends, Bel Air, and HBO, to name a few. The triple threat Southwest juggernaut of performing, rhyming, and writing is a natural musician. Tommy Will.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'd like to paint a picture for the audience from the lens of when I first met you. I want to say circa 2014, 15. A buddy of mine was raving about this gem that he had unearthed. That was like this ultimate hooper, did music. So I said, cool. So we were playing in a league on Sundays. And he invited you to come play on our team. So I remember the first time seeing you, you came to these stairs and he pointed you out. He said, there you go right there. And I looked and I said, he's not from here. I said, there's no way he's from here. Like, I seen this 5'10", like power forward. And not the power forward of today. I'm talking about the Karl Malone type shit, like
that.
Big.
Yeah.
And so I was like, damn. So I kind of watched you that game while we were playing. And part of your uniqueness is that you came with a triple threat. Like, you could go around people. You were quick enough, fast enough to go around people. You had this crazy athleticism where you could go over people and dunk, do what you wanted to, and you could go through them with power. So I thought that was crazy to see because it created this matchup issue for everybody. They try to put little guards on you and you're this little boy. They put bigs on you and you was too much for them. You was ragdolling them. So I was very intrigued and I started looking more into you. I started getting into your music and I saw that triple threat echo into your music. So for instance, you could apply that same physical force to the beats. So you could rhyme through the beats, over them, and around them. When I saw you perform, you did the same thing in many different venues, crowds, through it, around it, over it. So I always call you like a juggernaut, like from X-Men.
Man. Yeah.
But like the good rendition of Juggernaut, because he's the villain, because he's such a good dude. So with that, I mean, it creates such a unique blend for our city that we really cherish. And I wanted to start off and really give you your roses in that regard.
I appreciate you, man. Truly.
Yes,
truly,
yes.
That means a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And also just coming to my mind with that physical force, I remember seeing the video, Fear in America.
Yeah.
Where you were literally chained and dragging a car. And I was like, this dude is a force. So with that, I want to go around and ask you, where are you from and what brought you to Tucson?
So I am originally from here. And actually, before I even get started with that, man, just thank you for that. Because I remember that game, man, and shout out to Michael Luke, man, brought me in and we played those games at Greensfield. And it was fun, man. It was absolutely amazing. And So I was born in Tucson. I was born on base, Davis Monthan. My father was military, retired Air Force now. And so when I left, it was just because of that, just growing up as a military brat and all that. But came back when I was in high school, and I went to Sahuarita.
Yeah.
I went there for a couple of years, and then I just really wanted to play ball. I wanted to continue to still play basketball.
Yeah.
So I stayed off a couple of years. I tried out for Pima, didn't make the cut, and I ended up getting picked up and playing in El Centro, California. I played at a small school called Imperial Valley College.
Yeah.
And that was really good, and it helped me learn a lot about myself. Like I definitely didn't dedicate myself to the game the way that I thought I did when I was on my own.
Yeah.
And I didn't have people around me that I was, really good friends with at the time. Like as soon as I got there, that was helping me and really had a mission. I didn't have a mission. And but I played out there for a couple of years, and then when my dad, my mom and my dad were actually overseas, they were in England, and my sister was stationed, because she married into the military. My sister was stationed in Washington State, and my pops got diagnosed with cancer, and this was about the end of 2013, and we all decided, like, hey, we want to come back together, and Tucson was the place, and we just decided it felt like home. Like I was born here, but my sister was born in Washington. My mom's from Manchester, my dad's from Memphis, but Tucson felt like home for us. Yeah. So we all came back, and God bless, he's 8 years now, 9 years cancer free now. You know what I'm saying? Like, but Tucson was home. Like it just felt like it. Yeah, it just felt like it. Yeah. So yeah, that's what brought me back. I've been here since. I don't plan on leaving. I don't feel like it's necessary. Yeah. I just don't want to really. Yeah. The culture here is just, I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. When and where did you start music?
So I started it when I moved before coming to Sahuarita, I was living in Oceanside, California. So it was the weekend that I turned 16 was when we moved out here. And I went through the summer, and I was just kind of like hanging out, was playing basketball on the blacktops and stuff like that. And when we got into school, the first person I met, his name was Jimmy Herrera. I can't forget him because of it. And it was essentially, the first question was like, what's your name? Like, where are you from? And the second one was like, oh, you do music and you rap. And I was like, oddest question, And I was like, nah, not really. Like I write, like I was doing like a lot of artists, like I was doing poetry. Yeah. And then when I started hanging out with him outside of school, because he rapped. Yeah. So he introduced me to the people that he was rapping with. And because I was just around, so I started doing it too. And pretty much started recording. We was recording through a headphone jack on Cool Edit Pro, at his mom's house and stuff like that. And I started showing people the music, because we would burn the CDs at the time. So I always had a burnt CD on me. So anytime I found a CD player, I was always playing it. People was like, man, you're trash, bro. You're bad. But I was like, all right. I was like, well, see me next year. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, same thing. It was the same aggressive attitude as like basketball. It was like, I just always wanted to be better. Yeah. So I took that with music, and I was just like, okay, see me next year. And I just kept up with it. And it started off really as just like trying to like shame those people for doubting me. Yeah. And it was the wrong mind frame, but at that age, that's all I knew. I was like, nah, just watch. Yeah. And it was once I did my first show, I did a talent show in Oracle, Arizona. Yeah. That was the first time I ever touched a stage. I was in some big old South Pole shorts. I think I had a white beater on. It was just bad. It was bad. But the first time, like holding that microphone on stage and there was maybe like 10 people in the crowd. Yeah. But just feeling like I had that power, that's when I was like, oh, no, I like this. Like this might be more than I really think I love this. Yeah. Yeah. And so that performance aspect is what was like. So then it became a mix, and it was just like, I want to create the music just so I can perform it. But that's how it came up. Just first person I met when I moved back to Arizona was just like, you rap. Yeah. If he wouldn't have asked it, I don't know if I ever would have tried.
Yeah, and that's interesting. I mean, for you to take us back to the inception when you started rapping, because when I first started listening to you, it was just so natural. Just like with hooping, like you were natural at it. So it's funny to imagine a time where like you felt like you were trash and you weren't as good, but we all come from that place. But also doubling up with being a hooper, that competitive nature, like see me next to you. Like you don't think I'm that good right now, but I'm gonna be back.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something I also saw in you when I first met you, is that competitive spirit. Like you're a quiet dude, you seem like enigmatic, but when the lights come on, it's like, all right, I'm gonna release.
It's game time.
It's game time.
It's game time. Whether we're on the court, on the stage, you know. Yeah.
You get to it. And I like that. I like that. So paint a picture for us of what you were doing before music. What led up? I know you played ball your whole life. What were you doing before music?
I mean, before really, like I said, we moved around, so I never really kept up with too many friends. But I want to say the first thing that I ever really came in contact with that I enjoyed was, and it was music as well. When I was in middle school, I actually ended up joining band as an elective, and I played tenor saxophone for a few years until once we got to an age, you only had one elected, and if you wanted to play sports, you had to choose PE. But that was the first time I had ever found something that I was just like, I really enjoy this, besides video games, and I hang out with my sister, and stuff like that. But honestly, I didn't really do too much. I was the kid that would ride around on the neighborhood on a scooter, just by himself. I played Pokemon, I had the trading cards and all that kind of stuff. I was like, and I really enjoyed my own company from a young age, because having just such a small family, like we're not extended at all, so we kind of had the mind frame of like, we got us. We don't need anybody else to, essentially be friends with us or have our back or anything like that. So I enjoyed my own company very much. If I wasn't playing video games and just kind of being outside by myself, I was playing the saxophone, and then started playing basketball. I even played volleyball for a bit. I lived in Guam. My dad was stationed out there, and that was like the sport of the island. So I learned how to play volleyball, and I was, felt like I was naturally good at that, without trying to sound like too cocky or anything like that. But it came back to just that aggressive mind frame of just like, because those things brought me friends. And I didn't have those. When I started playing the saxophone, it was like I wanted to be good, because then people liked me because I was good at it. And that's really all I was doing before I found music. And it seems like so long ago. It seems like a whole nother life, because now I can't picture my life without even waking up trying to write something and thinking of like, how can I grow? How can I improve? In this type of space. Like, I feel like I can't even picture it anymore, man.
And that's what I'm really keen with when listening to your music. Like, I call you a musician. So when you say that you play these different instruments, I'm like, that's where it's at. Because I can see you having a serious grasp on the music that you're creating. You're not just coming in the booth, spitting 16 or whatever. It's, Range just put his right here, this there, the vocals. I can see that. And I also identify with you strongly in two different ways. One I'll get to later, but you mentioned the first with just being able to be within your own company. Because that's how I am. Like, I live in my own world. Like, you see me outside, whatever, I'm very sociable and everything, but I'm still in my own world.
Right.
So when I first saw you, I could see that. I was like, he's in his own world. But it's a skill and a gift to be able to come out of that world and bring something out to share to the world. So, that's pretty dope.
And it is, and it's tough, and a lot of people can't do that, because you get stuck in places, especially, as an extremely talented writer yourself, like, these things, like when we tap into those, it's all good and fun being happy when the times are good. But when you tap in those emotions of just, negativity, and when you feel powerless and stuff like that, you got to be a certain type of person to be able to get yourself out of those moments and get back to real life. And it's tough, but we learn those things, and I think we're a strong kind of person, and that's why we're meant to be creatives. You know, we're meant to be creators, whether it's on paper, on record, on wax, on canvas, on vinyl, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're meant for stuff like this.
Yeah, once you surrender to it, it's life.
Yeah.
Lifelong. There's no getting out of it.
Absolutely.
Talk about some of your influence from other musicians, like growing up. What were you listening to?
So I remember the first time I even actually paid attention to anything in rap. We were living in Biloxi, Mississippi, and this was during the time of like LimeWire and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my dad was listening to music, and he was listening to like Juvie, you know what I'm saying, Vanny Fresh, like a lot of South stuff.
Yeah.
And those are the songs that I first remember ever paying attention to.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay. And it wasn't like, they weren't the ones that got me like involved or even like questioning like if I enjoyed it or not, but those are the ones that I remember. And then for whatever reason, I had some extra money, and I remember we went to, it was Best Buy, because at the time when you bought CDs, there was either the edited version or the unedited version. You could buy one. So the first CD I ever bought with my own money was the Isley Brothers.
Okay.
That was the first one I had ever bought.
Yeah.
And right after that, I bought 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying.
Yeah.
And that was the album that changed everything for me. Because I probably played it for like 2 years straight.
Everybody did.
It was just one of those. It was one of those, and you know, from start to finish. And I had it from CD, and then they came out with that player where it was like a square disc, and you could like throw it in there, and you know, I had all those. But so musically, I would say even just enjoying the process was Isley Brothers, and it was 50 Cent. It was definitely that album for sure. And that's as far as enjoying listening to rap or listening to hip hop or urban music.
Yeah. And that's amazing you mentioned that, because, you know, listening to your music, it seems like it's effortless for you to create a hook. And when I think of somebody who does that, it's 50 Cent. Like 50 Cent always has ill hooks.
Yeah.
And with you, when I go through your albums, I'm like, every hook is just effortless. So I appreciate that. That's really interesting that you mentioned him, because I wanted to say that, but you mentioned it for me.
I appreciate that. Yeah. No, it was like we said, it was one of those that you could, you know, start to finish, you know, and I think what he had with that was, it wasn't only something that he wanted to prove with that album itself, but I think I think he's also the type of person who's just like, I'm just gonna do whatever I want to regardless. And if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, and that's kind of how I take to my music now. Like, I have fun, I enjoy myself. You know, when I'm sad, I'm sad. When I'm happy, I'm happy. You know, when I'm mad, I'm mad. Like, all that stuff. I don't overthink anything that I do too much anymore. And I think that's what's helped to catch my courses a little bit more, because I don't overthink them, you know, and stuff like that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. What are some of the artists here in Tucson that push you in a creative manner?
Oh, man. I mean, really the city itself. You know, all the artists in Tucson. I'm still the type of person, like, for the last, as long as I can remember, to when I could go out to these shows, you know, especially when, you know, 21 and up and all that stuff. Because even when I wasn't, I was sneaking into shows. You know, I was 17. I was driving up from Sahuarita to come up, and I was sneaking to Club Envy and BB8 so I could see Young Caesar, Klepto, H-Rock, K-Rock, 2, you know, 3 Grand, DFL, you know, Swindle, you know, all those guys, and sneaking in to watch them. And then when I started doing music myself, I was just going out because I enjoyed listening to the city. But, you know, I definitely have like my closer circle of people, you know, Marley, Cash, you know, those two are my guys. Like, those are the people that are like, even on the off day, they'll just call me like, hey, you good? You doing all right? Like, how you feeling and stuff like that. Like, those are friends. Brunt, you know, he came into my life a little bit later, man, but I appreciate him tremendously. SBZ's like a little sister to me now, as we've started creating over the past couple of years. But there's a lot. I mean, I could name everybody. I mean, Calvin, me and him have been working on and off for a really long time, and like, that's my brother. easygoing. You know, we went through a lot, you know, together too. Like there's just so many, man. And then off music, my business partner, one of my great friends now, Vi Bionic, you know, that's painting everything behind us in this whole studio. Absolutely incredible story, incredible person. You know, and it's all Tucson. It's all Tucson based, man. And it's wild for me to think those things. It's like all this incredible energy and music and this craft, and we're all in the same place. Yeah, you know, it's wild.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I want to connect that with your name, some of the artists you just mentioned. I like how you always have some sort of double entendre with Will. Like it's Tommy Will, Have Will, God Will. So I want to touch on that briefly, that album. With the artists you just mentioned, some of the artists here in Tucson, the collaborations were crazy.
Man, I'm telling you.
They were crazy, like Psychotic with Cash, Collection Plate with Marley B, Give Me That with Runt. That was like, you were Juggernaut and he was Wolverine. That was like a fucking battle. That was
Hell
cool.
Hell yeah, bro.
Those all on repeat. Manny Meggs, Capanese.
Yeah.
That's my shit too. Yeah, Capanese.
I appreciate you.
But when I first started listening, because it dropped the end of July.
It did, yeah.
So I got to it, I want to say the end of August. And I remember putting it in, and the way I listen to albums is you get into it, and I heavily, you know, gauge or, you know, get a feel for an album with the first song. And the first song was Be Honest, yesterday. And I'll be honest with you, like that first song, I spent about a week with that before I got to the rest of the album.
Yeah.
Because it was just, again, with the hooks, you know, it was just super cold. You know?
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, it was super cold, you know. Rude niggas, new niggas.
Yeah. And that was just fighting my being biracial.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was what that whole thing was about. It's like, you know, just fighting. Like I never wanted to be seen in the light to where I was like, and I actually think you overheard a conversation out in public about this particular subject, but you know, having, you know, a mother from Manchester and my father's from Memphis, it's like, am I too black for white things? Am I too white for black things and stuff like that? So like that was kind of like my internal struggle with that, and that's why I wanted to put that first, you know, and be like, this isn't gonna be an album just about some nonsense, about some bullshit. Like I'm about to tell you a lot about myself and about my life. So you know, for you to say that you kind of resonated with that record, even before diving in with the rest, like that, you just showed that it proved its purpose to me, and that means a lot to me. Like truly.
Yeah, it was a very introspective album, and you really, again, going back to you being someone who's very comfortable in your own space, living in your own world, you really opened up. And you shared a lot of those type of things, and I caught a lot of it, and I was very appreciative just to learn more of the backstory, more of the intricacies of your life. So that was like true art to me. You know, you really put the canvas up and painted for us to see. And going back to earlier when I said I identify with you in two things heavily, I've learned something. The second thing I identify with you is how big of an AI fan you are.
Oh,
obviously, you know, you posted something recently on Instagram, and you shot a line about him, and I commented. I was like, yo, I caught that Bubba Chuck right there. Yeah, that was sweet. But my favorite, I mean, it's hard for me to pick a favorite song on the album, but the one that really sunk in with me because I could identify as a hooper was the Iverson Ivory. You know, any hooper who's been under 6 feet trying to make it to the league or whatever has to understand that song, you know. Just how to, you know, the hook goes, you know, hoop dreams never come easy when you're short. Hoop dreams never come easy, just a sport. Hoop dreams never come easy, what to do. Hoop dreams never come easy, not for you. And so I was like, wow, he really captured that. And I always, I can't rap, but in my mind, growing up, being such a Iverson fan, I always wanted to write a song about him, or just something to honor him. And you did it.
Man.
You did it, but you also weaved yourself into it as a hooper, so I could see you. And I'm like, man, you gotta be able to have some kind of gift to do that. So I just really wanted to press home with that one. Like, I was listening to it more on the way over here because I was just like, man, you really. I went on a little hiatus. I didn't play ball for like 6 months. I listened to that song when it came out, and I got back into strong.
Like that?
Because it brought that love out. You know, the love never leaves, but, you know, as an artist, creative, you have to thin yourself out to different things. So you don't have the time to go and be in the gym all day, every day. But I started making the time again. But that was a beautiful song, man. And I hope one day with each person, I have something, I set intentions for it, I want to manifest for them. I hope Allen Iverson hear that.
Yeah.
And I hope you can get a picture with him and be like, yo, my man did this, you know, it's entitled Iverson, it's got my name, and I can see y'all with like arms around each other, like bigging you up because it's well deserved.
I appreciate that. I do, man. And we're the same type of people with that. And there's a lot of us out there, those guys, the smaller guys that weren't built for the type of sports that we're trying to play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In all the different realms, you know, we're big in the basketball community here in town, both of us. And so we know a lot of these guys that are like, and I hate using the words like naturally gifted because a lot of the people that we know do work their ass off, you know, for things. But, you know, there's a difference between someone who might be, you know, 5'10", 5'11", you know, and somebody who's, you know, 6'4", 6'5", and, you know, has those things. Like there's different natural abilities that are given. You have to hone those. But, you know, I wasn't one of those guys. A lot of us weren't those guys, and we had to work to get to those things. And that's why I resonate with Allen Iverson so much. I mean, pound for pound.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people know that. I feel like that's undisputed. So that would be dope, man. That would be dope because I definitely had a couple of them split in half. You know, Philly jerseys was red on top and the blue on the bottom, and you know, and all those. I had the questions. I wore those throughout high school. That was definitely a big influence basketball wise. Him and Tracy McGrady, but you know, Iverson has that dog that's just like it's contagious. Yeah, it's contagious. Like you can't slip. You can't take a break against somebody like that.
Nah, he was relentless. I mean, anytime you're that size and you shoot 27 times in a game, like you got to have some type of endurance and just intestinal fortitude to keep going.
For real.
And they were afraid of him. Yeah. Like afraid. Like
one of the smallest dudes on the court.
Pumping in everybody's heart. Yeah. So what kind of creative work do you do outside of making music? Because I know you're multifaceted. I seen you coming out. I was coming out of a restaurant downtown one night and you were doing like a photo shoot and everything. I was like, this dude's Swiss Army knife. Like, so.
I remember that. Yeah, I was doing a music video for some artists. Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so the reason I even picked up anything outside of music is just because I never truly believed in writer's block. Yeah. Because I felt it was discipline at the same time. It's like going to a job. Like I might not feel like I want to be at work that day, but I still got to do it. Yeah. So why would I not do that with music? You know, like if I come into the studio and it's like, I don't really feel like writing, I have no inspiration. Yeah. Well, something's got to get done regardless. So instead of trying to force myself to overthink, you know, versus in my writing, I picked up a camera. That was the first thing that I did. I started doing photography and I felt like that helped me a lot. And then I started making videos because I wanted to help other people who couldn't afford, because there's a lot of extremely talented videographers and photographers, but for some people who are, whether they're just first starting off or, you know, maybe they have, you know, a family and they can't, you know, spend that couple $100, you know, on a photo shoot or on a video. So it's like, I just want to help out, you know, for the love and like things that I like and stuff like that. I'm like, man, let's shoot. Like, I might not be the best at this, but just know that I enjoy it and I'm gonna put my heart into it, you know. And so I started doing that, and that helped out tremendously, just for me as a person and as an artist. And then I also taught a class for 3 years here in the studio called For the Record, and just helping, you know, upcoming artists and artists in that same scenario just learn like, hey, this is how you make your money. Make sure, you know, you have, you know your publishing, know what your masters actually mean, you know how you get your writers, what copyrights or differences between licensing and like, buying exclusive production and like stuff like that. And that was really fulfilling. And we went, 156 weeks. Because it was every Monday for 3 years. So when I spell it out like that, it means a lot more, you know what I'm saying? Because you can say 3 years. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying, 156 weeks. I think we took 2 or 3 days off that we had to make up. And I remember the only reason we did it is because one time I was sick. One of the weeks was when COVID started.
Yeah. And
I think one of the days was Christmas. And those are the only reasons that we didn't come in. And they always showed up. Man. So, yeah, I mean, photography, videos, big. I'll still continue to do it. The class, I love doing it. I hope to do it again. And then designing merch. That's something else that I love, and finding my way into trying to do it myself. But yeah, try to do a little bit of everything.
Okay. And HRDRV, the record label.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about them?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really what that sparked another fire when I really needed it too. So what it is Hard Drive is a label. It's a community-based online label. So it's kind of subscription-based. Okay. So where you pay your monthly fee, you have access to everything that an artist needs.
Yeah.
And so I remember I had been following them for a while, and then they reached out and they said, "Hey, we see you've been following us, and you're dropping some music. Mm-hmm. Take a look at what we do and see if this is something that interests you and you can join us." So my first thing was, the first question I asked, I was like, "Well, what have you heard from me?" Because I was, I could pay for your stuff and you can get your bag and that's cool. I was like, but if you actually looked at my profile, like looked at my music, I was like, what did you hear? And they told me what they heard and what they thought about it. And after that, I was like, cool. So I had some extra money stashed up, and I remember I bought the yearly. I just paid for the year up front. Mm. And I told myself, because at the time there was 2,000 artists that were signed up on this community label. And I told myself, I was like, in 6 months, I got to be the top guy. I was like, I'm not paying this amount of money for nothing. I was like, right. I got to be the top guy. Yeah. And my mind frame was still that. Like, I just want to be better than people. I still didn't have the mind frame of, just creating good music or great music. And so about 3 months in, the CEO, Nikki Shiloh, sent me a message, and she was pretty much like, yo, like, you're doing great. I have a record that I'm doing with a friend of mine. It's an open slot. If you're interested, do something to it. And I was at home, and as soon as I got that message, it might have been like 11 at night, 11:30. I drove back here to the studio, wrote it on the way, and recorded it and sent it right back because I didn't want to miss the opportunity. And she was all like, "This is cold." She was like, and she was like, and it was fast. Yeah. And then a couple weeks later, we did another one. It was a record called Sweating You. And the same thing happened. I want to say at this point, I think I was playing basketball at the LA Fitness up in Moreno. Mm-hmm. And she sent me that record, and I did the same thing. Drove straight down here. I wrote it while I was driving. Kids, don't do that. Don't be on your phone while you're driving. Got here, I recorded it, sent it back. She sent me another one right after that because she's like, okay. She's like, you work like me. You're fast, but you're quality. You're quantity, but you're quality. And then after that, it was just like me and Mickey got a lot closer. I mean, that's one of my best friends. She looks out for me tremendously. Mm-hmm. But the community of what Hard Drive is what the real heart of it is. Yeah, we can hook you up with like photographers and videographers for a discounted rate. You got all these beats and stuff like that, but it's the people around you that are saying like, hey, we're rooting for you at all times. You say you're going to do something, you're going to do it because these people are going to hold you accountable. And that's what makes Hard Drive so great. And, I've been with them since January 2nd, 2021 was when I signed up. And I'll be with them for the rest of my career, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And what do you see as a difference, like, as being independent artists or signed, like, to a major label? Explain, like, just as an artist, how you maneuver through that. What are their preferences? What is your comfort zone in that? And you seem like you're locked in, like you said, lifetime. But go into that. Explain that. I would say it's exactly what you said. It's just preferences.
Yeah.
You know, it's where you see yourself and what you actually want to do with your legacy in music is what you would choose. You know, I think, you know, being independent, of course, for yourself as an artist is the best route because there's really nobody that can take advantage of you around you unless you allow it.
Yeah.
But on a major label, they control a lot more and you kind of don't have that power. They control when you release. They control kind of like what shows you can do and things of that nature. But if you're one of the elite on that major label, I mean, you're essentially set. They can put you in front of the world.
First dibs.
Versus independent, it's like you're striving every single day. You're trying to grow to get more eyes on you.
Yeah.
And with me personally, I think with what I want to leave over for Tucson is I would go the major label route, even if I did get shelved or anything like that, just to show the next kid that it is possible.
It is possible, yeah.
So if they follow the formula and just keep that mind right and their heart right, they're going to get there 10 years before I did and be able to continue, and they're going to be that elite person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I have full confidence in what I do and what I create, but, you know, I'm also looking for the next 20 years. I'm not going to be rapping in 20 years.
Right.
I want to be doing other things.
Right.
And rap and music itself is just a vessel to get to those other points.
Yeah.
But there's that kid right now that's 16 or 17 that I might not have never met yet. And he's looking at me like I might be the best thing smoking. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that, you know, for everybody. You know, I tell Vi all the time, like, there's a 14-year-old girl that wants to do art that's watching you, and you'll never know. But she's watching your every move, studying you, because she wants to be the next you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I would kind of take, as long as it made sense, I would really take any route possible to be that sacrifice for like the greater good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've come to that conclusion with myself. Like, I'm not afraid to do anything. Yeah. I'm not afraid to run in the dark. If I hit a wall, I hit a wall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's so someone else won't hit that wall.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like with your extensive repertoire, like you mentioned 20 years from now, you can do so many different things. But like my preference, like for me, and a lot of people relate to it, is I like the autonomy of being independent. Like if I want to go off the charts and create something that's like taboo, I can do that.
Absolutely.
I can do something that's cookie cutter. I can do that. You know, you can't really do that on a major label or a major whatever. But I see you being able to do both. And that's part of, you know, your superpower, like going back to the beginning. So I think you can do anything. I think you can do anything, and it's going to be that way. And you're going to continue to inspire people behind you, in front of you, you know, on that same plane, everything.
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And talk about having to like juggle, if you've ever had to juggle a full-time job and pursue your passion, like as a side hustle, with the dream of making it your full-time, like everything.
Yeah, I mean, for the last decade, I've been serving tables.
Yeah.
You know, I've been at multiple restaurants up and down, you know, Broadway here in town. And when I was in college, you know, restaurants got me through college. And I couldn't imagine any other occupation because it just gave me the opportunity to be able to take time off and focus on the thing that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, so that was great. So getting into it was a blessing, actually. And my first job that I kept longer than like a year, you know, was Applebee's. And then after that, you know, and that was the one that I started when I got to college. But it was really that, and it was being disciplined enough to know, like, hey, like if I go to work, you know, from 9 until 4, I get my time to myself from like 4 until 6, but I'm in the studio, I'm working on music from 6 until midnight, 2 in the morning. Yeah. And I wake up and I do the same thing again. That's on top of playing basketball, you know, and all that other stuff, you know, that I'm trying to do. But I always knew I was so 50-50 with music though at the time. Like now it's 100%. Like this is what I need to be my career. Like it's not even a want no more. I need it. I've invested too much for it not to be. But at the time I was so 50-50, it was just kind of like, maybe I'll write a song, maybe I won't. But then it also transferred to basketball. It's like, maybe I'll practice, maybe I won't. Yeah. You know, and I was never focused on anything. So, but I mean, working the job was always just an investment for It's for the career.
That's what I
And
say.
that's all it was. It's just a job.
Use them as your investor. That's all I stay in mind with.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just a job to invest in it, and this is career, but it's difficult. I mean, it's tiring, especially depending on what people do. I'm lucky that I don't do any type of, real like manual labor, you know what I'm saying? To where my body's not super exhausted when I get off work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm lucky, man. I conversate and I serve food for a couple hours, and then I get to come back and, do my thing, do what I need to do.
Yeah. On more of a personal level, like, and this is something I can learn from you because I'm going through it right now. Like, as an artist, creative, you're constantly going like 24/7. Like, what does your self-care look like? Because like for me, I had that hustle mentality where I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Until I burn out. My body's like, you need to chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn that recently, like, like, what do I need to do to chill? Like, do I need to cut off social media for 48 hours? Do I need to, go on a hike or something? Because, it's like an avalanche sometimes. Like,
it is, yeah.
And as an independent, you take on so many different hats. So what does that look for you? Like, how do you give yourself a break from pretty much being overwhelmed?
I think what helped is I refound like the love and the passion in it. Because I feel when you dive in so deep, you forget that you started this because you enjoyed doing it.
Right.
So that was one thing, just remembering like, hey, I actually enjoy doing this stuff. And it doesn't have to feel like work all the time. That was one thing. And then just understanding, like, even though I quote unquote hung up like the sneakers for basketball, like I still have my time where I go to the court by myself, headphones in, shoot jump shots. Like that's always calming and soothing. Yeah. Switching off and doing the photography and video on the side. It took pressure off of me because there was nothing that I realized that the pressure that was on me, I put on myself. Right. Same thing probably with you, most likely. It's like there's nobody around you that's like, yo, you got to do this. You got to get this done and stuff like that. Most of the time, it's probably yourself like, yo, I have to do this. I have to meet these deadlines and stuff like that. Yeah, sometimes we do, but, we have so much just drive and we're used to this work ethic because of the other things that we've done in our lives that does get extremely, weighing. Yeah. It's a colossal weight on us. So I really don't do too much. I've actually had friends that bro, go see a movie sometime or something. Like, what I'm saying? It's just like, but I'm like, the way that I think about it is like, why would I spend $16 on a movie ticket? I could buy, that's half a beat. So half a beat lease, you know what I'm saying? Like, but there are those times, and I would say that I really kind of don't have a self-care routine because to me, this is self-care. Yeah. But, the smallest things that I do, like I go home and hang out with my dog, man. I got a 3-year-old blue heeler. I love her to death, man. Like, and I only watch TV a few times a day, and it's usually only when I'm eating or right before I go to sleep. Yeah. And I'm a Family Guy fanatic, man. Okay. Family Guy, American Dad, that kind of stuff. Like I love that stuff, man. So that's kind of like when I wind down. But other than that, I'm still gonna face myself to where it's just like, hey, don't take yourself too seriously. Continue to have fun, but I think I'm taking out that luxury of self-care right now. Yeah. To understand I got places that I need to be. Yeah. And you kind of just deal with the negatives. Like when your body shuts down, it shuts down. Yeah. It'll shut down and let you know. Like, it'll do that. For me, it's just like I had a friend tell me like, yo, you're really in your masculine right now. Fiona Phoenix. She told me like, you need to like chill out, and just from her and other friends I have, like I tap into like that feminine energy because they're more like balanced. So that helps me. But sometimes, how it is, I'll be around Shay and some other folks, South Six, Bodega, and you get around the wolves and it's like, we out to go hunt and eat. There ain't no time to sleep, so it's just differentiating between the two. That's true, and I'm glad you brought that up, man, because I feel like one of the very most important pivots that my career took to where I really started seeing success. My inner circle, my team was all female. Yeah. It was all women. You know, I had Michaela as my mentor. You know, my engineer was AMAC.
Yeah.
My videographer and photographer was Love Rose.
Yeah.
And that's when I started seeing more opportunity because they weren't lying to me.
Yeah.
You know, like some of and not saying like the homies lie, like, you know, my bros wouldn't, but they're kind of like, they were brutally honest to me.
Yeah.
You know, and it was more than just like, I don't even know. I did a photo shoot on New Year's Day with Whizbang. And shout out to Whizbang, man. She's been making me look like a fucking star every time I go over there, man. And she's an incredible person too. And so I did a photo shoot. Wizard just styled my hair, and Vi was there like critiquing me to the point to where like the homie would never come over and be like, let me fix your collar. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, but Vi was like, fix your collar, take your watch off. You know what I'm saying? Put this ring on from this finger over here. Like, you know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. And it was just like, I never had that early in my career. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And like, it was necessary. And I feel like I found a lot of success by just having very strong women around me, man.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta have them around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're not gonna bullshit you.
Not at all.
You know, the fellas will bullshit you. They'll gas you and everything.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We'll have fun and we'll talk shit to each other, but nah, you know, it's different. It's different. So I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
What do you think is the driving force to keep people pressing play on your music, and how difficult has it been to broaden your fan base, if any?
I think as far as just pressing play, I think people can tell that I'm having fun. Yeah. And I'm enjoying myself. Yeah. And it doesn't feel forced, you know. Yeah. I don't beg anybody to play my music. I still kind of have a rough time when I meet new people and they're like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm an artist. Oh, let me hear something. I'm kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that I don't want to share it, but it's just kind of like, well, what? I'm so in depth. It's like, well, what? How you feeling right now? How's your day? So I know what to play for you. You know what I'm saying? So, because I could either play you something like, you know, Bad Habit, or I could play you something like Bad Vibe, or I could play you something like Fear in America, or, you know, like, you know, Enemies or something from God Will. Am I playing you God Will? Am I playing you Napoleon? Like, you know, those kind of things, and overthinking that. But I think people can see that I'm still, you know, I'm absolutely having fun with this shit. Yeah. I'm enjoying myself. And I think that's what people gravitate to when it comes to me. I'm not afraid to try new things. You know, I went through a period to where I was asking the homies like, hey, what do you think about these beats? And if they said yes to them, I wouldn't do them. I wouldn't rap on them. I only rapped on the beats that they said that they didn't like. So I was like, I'm gonna make you a fan of this shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's where I kind of took a turn. But, you know, as far as broadening the fan base, like the sync has definitely been, you know, a huge part of that. Yeah. And that was another thing I got introduced to through Michaela, you know, and Hard Drive. And that's brought new people, new producers, music supervisors, and other artists. Because I always told myself, I was like, I'm the rapper's rapper. Yeah. Especially when I was first starting, because I was just trying to out-rap everybody. Yeah. But I wasn't making music. You know, I wasn't making records. But I was the artist that other creatives could be like, I get what you're doing and I fuck with you. Yeah. And I, you know what I'm saying? Like, but then when I started transitioning to like, I want fans, I need fans to really expand this. Yeah. And once that started happening, it was just because I was just being myself and I wasn't forcing, like I said, you know. I never come into the studio saying, oh, I'm gonna make a club record. I need something for the club. Like, nah. Yeah. I play instruments and I build on beats, or I look stuff up that producers have sent me, and it's whatever I feel that day, I make that song, you know? Yeah. And, you know, it's a slow process, but, you know, it happens. Whether it's 100 new people in a day or whether it's just one, you know, it's working. It's working.
And in closing, brother, what would you give as advice for someone coming up who wants to make that leap in the music as their career?
I say, for me personally, the advice that I give myself is that I always tell myself. I had a conversation. I was in LA. I was at a Hard Drive Award show, and a phenomenal artist named Scotty Grand came up to me, and we was having a conversation. And he was asking me these questions, and he said, like, what kind of like drives you to do your stuff? So out of nowhere, I think I was off a couple, you know, I had a couple Jamesons in me and stuff like that. I said I had heard so many no's in my life that I started creating my own yeses.
Yeah.
So to somebody who's just getting into music or anything creative, it's just like, one, you're gonna hear no a lot, but you have more power in creating opportunity for yourself than anybody can create for you.
Yeah.
You know, so as long as you know what you want, and that's the biggest thing, you know what you want, you just gotta stay on that path.
Yeah.
You gotta stay on that path. You know, it took me 15 years to see a career in music. Some people are gonna see that in a year. Some people see that in 6 months.
Yeah.
Some people are in the middle, you know, but I wouldn't trade it because this is the way that my life is supposed to be. So, you know, you work harder, work longer, and it's gonna come regardless. And just be unapologetically yourself, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm Tommy Will at all times.
Yeah.
No matter what. If I'm at the restaurant, if I'm in the studio, if I'm at the mall, if I'm at Target, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, unapologetically be yourself and create your opportunities that you want.
Yeah.
Be so happy.
So any new music, how can people find you, fans, social media?
So on social media, you can always look up Have Will. That's the mantra. It's HXVE Will. Use the X because it's trendy. You know what I'm saying? You can find me everywhere on there. You type in Tommy Will on anything, find me as well. A couple of new projects. I have a project with a producer named Devin Lee Parker, DLP, coming out. Very excited about. I also have a project with a producer company called, or a production duo, called the 87s, who are a lot of fun to work with. We got a project coming out as well. And some other, you know, some stuff we talked about, you know, before the cameras turned on, man. A lot of people within Tucson I got records with that's going to be coming out in 2023. I'm not holding that back, but we got some new stuff coming out. I have merchandise called Refreshments that actually just dropped. It's just a bunch of different clothing talking about vices. And art galleries coming up with me and Vi Bionic. Man, so we're keeping it pushing.
That authenticity, it really shines through. Going back to, like I said, when I met you, I'm truly grateful for that gem to be unearthed and for you to come into my horizon, my life, and see how you've blossomed and continue to grow. Man, I want all the mega everything for you. Like, we pushing for you. The city, we love you. Like I said, I cherish you, brother. So
I appreciate you, my boy, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. And what you're doing with this, you know, for the city is absolutely incredible. You know, I'm honored and blessed to be on this platform with you.
Yeah.
You know, when people come back and see this, they're gonna understand that you curated something that people have been missing for a long time, and nobody took the time to do it, but you did, man. And I'm grateful. I'm forever grateful for you, bro.
Yeah, I want the world to see what I see in y'all. You know, so the world's gonna see the juggernaut of Tucson.
They're gonna see it, man.
Yeah, yes. Thank you, brother.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Like politicking with you, tie down speech, I'm right down street, you hate me. Hold my plate and grow my state, so thank me. No more tears, you weird, thinking you a voice with no background and smackdown. Phoenix gotta come out the ash now, I been fly, skirting around the city like Bream hosting the key. It's champagne cups and the old toasting to me. And all my brothers, all my sisters.